Are you having trouble stating your theme in your fictional novel? Well, in this video, I'm going to help you with that. What's up, guys? Dave Jacobson here, best-selling author and book publisher. And in this video, we're going to continue talking about theme, and we're going to learn how to state our theme powerfully in a way that's really going to resonate with readers. So if that sounds good, guys, without further ado, I'm going to shrink my melon-sized head. We're going to get right in the heart of this video. As you can see, I pull up the step-by-step development process. This is a story development process that I created over the last decade or so in writing fictional novels. And this is what I'm teaching in this video series, right? So I'm teaching you a step-by-step method for creating fictional novels, okay? And we went through step one, which was just to create a working title. We talked about how to do that and why it's important. Then we defined our protagonist and antagonist. We gave them a name. Then we defined the conflict, etc., etc. And then once we got to step 10, then we gave our character a lie or misbelief, okay? Our protagonist, our main character, which is related to their character flaw, which we defined in a previous step. Now, once you've done this, then you're ready to give a origin for the misbelief, right? So why is this important? Well, if you just give your character a random, misbelief like, oh, I'm a terrible person, or I'm not worthy, or I'm, the world is cutthroat, without giving it a backstory or an origin of the misbelief, your readers are just going to be confused, right? They're just going to be like, well, why does this person believe this? I don't understand. So you have to give an origin to the misbelief, okay? And it's going to help you write your story because you can help craft that origin at some point in the book, right? But let's say we have our origin, we have our misbelief. And by the way, throughout this process, guys, I'm giving you examples. I'm using Harry Potter to help you understand through examples what I'm talking about and the concepts that I'm teaching. So, for example, in Harry Potter, the misbelief is roughly something like, I'm unwanted, powerless, and ordinary, right? So that's basically the misbelief of Harry Potter at the beginning of the story. And then by the end of the story, he learns that he's actually extraordinary and he's not powerless, etc., right? So the character arc in your fictional novel is going to be basically giving your character the misbelief at the beginning of the book and then giving them the proper true belief by the end of the book. And that's going to help them overcome the antagonist, right? I talked all about this in the previous 3 or 4 videos, so go back and watch them if you want the detailed breakdown. But once we have our misbelief in our origin, then we can start writing the theme, okay? What is a theme? A theme of your story is basically a powerful universal truth, which is the opposite of the lie or misbelief of the protagonist at the beginning of the story, okay? The universal truth is basically the theme of your story, okay? So in Harry Potter, for example, the universal truth opposite the protagonist's misbelief is a person's worth is not determined by how they are treated by people like the Dursleys, for example, but it is revealed through their choices, courage, loyalty, and capacity to love others, okay? So once we have this universal truth, which we define in step 12 of this process, right? Once you have that universal truth, we're going to turn that into the theme of our story in this next step, okay? So step 13 is reshape or rephrase if necessary. Sometimes it's not necessary. But we want to reshape or rephrase the powerful truth you just articulated into a truth that you want to shout from the rooftops as your story's theme, okay? So definition. In a story, the theme is the underlying message or idea that the author wants to convey to the reader. It's not a summary of the plot or characters, but rather a deeper insight into human nature, life, or society, okay? Theme is the big truth or the big idea, you sometimes hear it called, right? That you as an author want to convey at the heart of your story. What is the truth? Think about this. What is the truth you as a writer want to scream from the rooftops and convey through your story, right? And this is going to be the opposite. It's going to be basically a very beautifully crafted version of the opposite of the misbelief of the protagonist, okay? So in our case, going back to the example of Harry Potter, right? We just talked about the universal truth that was the opposite of Harry's lie or misbelief, right? And we framed it this way in the previous step. A person's worth is not determined by how they are treated by those who fail to love them. It is revealed through their choices, courage, loyalty, and capacity to love others, right? So once we have that universal truth that is the opposite of the protagonist's misbelief, now what we're going to do is reshape it a little or rephrase it a little in such a way that it so resonates with us. It's so beautiful to us in our hearts and our souls that we want to shout that from the rooftops, right? So we're just going to tweak it a little bit into something like this for step 13. Love, courage, and chosen loyalty are stronger than fear, cruelty, and the pursuit of power, right? Bam! That's just, when I hear that, guys, I want to shout it from the rooftops, right? And this is basically the theme, as I interpret it, of Harry Potter, right? Because all we've done is we've taken Harry Potter's misbelief that he had at the beginning of the story, and then we flipped it on its head, turned it into a universal truth, and then we kind of, a little bit more poetically and in more of a beautiful way, we framed it so that it can serve as the theme of our story. And that's how you do it, guys. If you got value out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next time.